The real problem is human rights and lack of respect for democracy, including for opposition forces. So there's all sorts of techniques which might create problems and lack of a level playing field. So it's framed in terms of globalization, long-term trends, the loss of manufacturing blue-collar work, the ways in which particular sectors of the country have lost out, and they now no longer have the economic prosperity of their parents' generation. I started my academic career at Warwick University, which is in the Midlands in Britain. And I was interested in philosophy, so I wanted to do that. But everybody said you should also do a more practical political science, social science, and so political science seemed to be a good combination. So I started in that area. And then I went on to the LSE, London School of Economics, to do my master's and then my PhD. And I did that in terms of the history of political thought with Michael Oakeshott, one of the great conservative philosophers who was part of my mentor. And then I went on to do a PhD there as well. So I've always been based in Britain for my early education. And then I went north and I ended up in Edinburgh University, which is a wonderful university. And then I moved across to Harvard University, almost by accident. But I settled there and now I've been there for 30 years, which is quite an amazing amount of time.
Pippa is no doubt one of the most influential, creative, prolific and productive social scientists of our times. She's truly what we call a Renaissance intellectual. Pippa Norris's perspective is global and comparative. She assigns a major explanatory role to cultural values and norms. She forcefully shows that it's not only the economy. And she is a leading figure in international comparative data collection projects. Well, I'd like to congratulate Sabancı University and their selection committee for making this excellent choice, for giving this prestigious award to Professor Pippa Norris.
She is the most complete comparative scholar, if not the most complete political scientist in terms of the scope of the topics she has covered in her work. And I also think she is the definition of a comparativist. She is the most widely cited comparative political scientist of all time, period. She has published, I think since 1999, every year, a major monograph with the leading press.
I mean, I have just here behind me a selection of the books that I have of Pippa's, but the total collection of Pippa's books, exceeds that of our political science department. She publishes more as an individual political scientist in a year than many of us might hope to do in 5 or 10 years. And so she has covered so many different fields. I mean, just think most recently, all of her recent work, sometimes with Ronald Inglehart, the late Ronald Inglehart, sometimes on her own on values and on trying to understand the emergence of extreme authoritarianism, or her fundamental work in putting electoral integrity onto the horizon as a key area of research, not only in the project, the Electoral Integrity Project that she founded, but all the books that she produced on that looks at problems with elections, whether it's in the United States or whether it's in any other country that you like. And then I could go back. I mean, when I first met Pippa way back, she was a specialist in electoral behaviour with a big focus on UK British elections. She then was a pioneer in the development of gender politics. She was also very much a pioneer in mass communications and media research. She also contributed to research on electoral behaviour, electoral systems. I could go on. There are so many fields that she has addressed that in many ways, not only does she publish more than many political science departments, but she pretty much covers many of the different sub-disciplines in political science in one individual person.
Pippa Norris siyaset bilimi alanında dünya çapında önde gelen bir akademisyen, bilim insanı ve bence düşünürdür. İlk aklıma gelenler siyasal davranış biçimleri, siyasal kültür, seçim sistemleri, ve bunların aslında baktığınızda tek tek birleştiği demokrasi literatürü. Günümüzde neleri konuşuyoruz? Popülizmin yükselişini konuşuyoruz. Demokratik değerlerin aşınmasını konuşuyoruz. Halkların siyasi partilere ve siyasi modellere olan tepkisini konuşuyoruz. Bunların nereden geldiği, bu tepkilerin siyasal kültürle nasıl bir bağlantısının olduğu, bu tepkilerin ekonomik temelli mi yoksa kültürel temelli mi olduğunu anlayabilmek için Pippa Norris'in çalışmaları burada bize önemli bir ışık tutar.
I have known Pippa for 50 years. We lived in Britain. We were not personal friends when we lived in Britain, but we collaborated on various things. And when I came to the States 40 years ago, she came a few years later to a different part of the country, but later we ended up in the same city. So I know Pippa well. She is a very private person, but also a very welcoming person, a very friendly person. She has a beautiful house on Cape Cod where she keeps chickens and bees. And entertains. She is a wonderful cook. She is a great conversationalist. People find it very interesting talking to her because she talks about important topics in a very accessible fashion. You never feel that she's talking down to you. She is just a all-round decent person and wonderful friend.
She is a very funny person. She's a serious person, sure, in academic context, but she is also a very funny person, and she is a lover of pets. So she has chicken, she has bees, she has a dog since recently, a puppy, and she has a cat. So yeah, and she likes to talk about those things.
Sakıp Sabancı, Uluslararası Araştırma Ödülleri'nin bu seneki konusu globalleşme, yani küreselleşme ve de onun yarattığı değişikliklerle toplumun, devletin nasıl bir değişime uğradığı ve bizi nasıl bir devlet, nasıl bir toplum bekliyor gibi konulara baktığımızda Pippa Norris'in dünyanın nabzını tutan, değişen değerleri ortaya koyan, popülizmin yükselişi, demokratik yozlaşmanın küreselleşmesi, otoriter sağın yükselişi gibi konularda yapmış olduğu çalışmalar Pippa Norris ismini aklımıza getirmesine sebep oldu.
And so cultural backlash is not just in America. It's clearly there in, for example, Marine Le Pen and her party, Rally of the Republic in France, or AfD in Germany, or parties which are there for representing many traditional groups in many other societies. And white supremacy has come back, anti-Semitism has come back, anti-Muslim feelings have also been strengthened. And again, you can see this polarization of society. And another way of thinking about it is that in the 1950s and 60s, parties and society were divided on the left-right economically. So you were on the right if you were in favour of markets and low taxes, and you were on the left if you favoured a strong role of the state and public services. But increasingly, what you can see is a new cultural cleavage, which has divided parties along the lines of either authoritarianism, belief in traditional values, or libertarianism. And on the economic divisions, it's easy to compromise. So on things like tax, you can spend a bit more on tax or spend a bit less. But on issues of things like, say, reproductive rights or religion or the role of women in the family, it's far more difficult to get to any sort of compromise.
Congratulations, Pippa Norris, for a very well-deserved award. You've been an inspiration to all political scientists.
Pippa, it's a pleasure to have the honor to say these few words in honor of you.
Wish her to congratulate her on this award that recognizes her sterling contributions to political science and to the understanding of political science in the general public.
This is an award that I think recognizes just what an outstanding academic you are. But underlying all that, you have been so supportive. You've been supportive of me in my career. You've been supportive of so many other colleagues right across the discipline of political science. So I certainly want to congratulate you, but also I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for the discipline.
Pippa, I'm truly proud to be your colleague and, if I may say so, your friend. Congratulations, and I know that this is a valuable addition to the long list of prizes that you have received, the most prestigious ones in the world, and we are all lucky to be associated with you.